hosting on B&T, is it?
Nah, it don't really matter, does it?
Yeah.
It's all good in the hood, bro. It's all good in the hood.
Oh, hang on. Give it a retweet.
You do a retreat, and I'll do a little introduction then.
Retreat.
A retreat, a treat for everyone. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Berardi Coke, the Leeds United versus Wednesday game. I'm hosting today. I'm Smarty, and I'm joined by OKB regulars. Regular. It's just two of us.
It's just personalities, mate.
It's just me and you. All of our personalities combining once this morning. We're going to be discussing the Sheffield Wednesday game at home, so sit there, and we'll be back in a second.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Orta Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
You look like fucking Brolin, you're a Leeds eating bastard. Look like some sort of fucking weird floating head. No. You utensil player a bit, innit?
I mean, I feel a bit right, dickhead.
Nothing spectacular, really.
You can tell it's early. There's only 8 or 9 people actually watching this morning. We're up before the worm.
Eyes like pitos in snow.
I tell you what, I don't know why we agreed to do it this early, because I hate speaking first thing in the morning.
You know why?
I don't like it.
You know why? It's my fault, and it's because I'm going shopping immediately after this.
Yeah,
so that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. He's going for a shit suit shopping in Castleford as well. Fucking hell. Morning, Coleslaw, how we doing? Everyone else, get your comments in. Let us know you're there. Keep us entertained. Get some interactions going. So, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Leeds United 0. An enthralling end-to-end match, would you say? Did you have fun?
Do you know what? I did have fun. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I was in the
nice day for
cheese.
it.
Atmosphere were bouncing. I'd seen my mates. Been at Peacock for a quick one beforehand. I did have fun.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Did you have a drink as well?
Day. It was a decent day, but I think the thing about it is it was a decent day of football let down by the football.
Yes. It was like going back in time, wasn't it? It was more about the social element, really, than the actual football being played. I didn't go for any pre-match pints. And I don't know why, because it was a bloody good day for it. Because normally for the last few weeks, we've been sat out in the bloody miserable beer gardens, thinking it's definitely going to piss it down in a second. So what did you think to the game, mate? What did you think to the atmosphere, actually? Let's start off with the atmosphere, because you've been entertaining a few people on Twitter this morning, last night.
Do you know, so I was in the cheese. I think, if you're in the cheese, if you're in the south, then you've put yourself in a position to have the best atmosphere when you're at the game. I do appreciate the cheese atmosphere, but the cheese and the south bounce off each other, and they're both great. And, in the south, you got the proximity to the away fans. And I will say I expected a little bit more from Wednesday. They sold out their allocation. I expected a bit more from them. And so that was a bit disappointing. I didn't really hear much from them. So I've had a couple of interactions with people on Twitter, as is my want, complaining about the atmosphere in the East Stand. And I'm like, look, if you're going to go into East Stand and be forced to sit down and eat your prawn sandwiches, then it's not going to be as raucous as it's going to be elsewhere. We were talking before we came on. We had Play All the Way, and we had Gaetano, and we had all sorts going off. Atmosphere I thought were fine. I enjoyed it. Now the thing is, I was also at the front of the stand, which does mean you get all the noise from behind you, so it can skew it. I do get that, but I appreciated the atmosphere despite the football, I think is the way that I'd put it.
Yeah, Coleslaw on Toasters says he was in the cheese but thought the atmosphere was in general was a bit hit and miss. I think that's generally across the board, though, and like you said, you mentioned the Wednesday fans. I think they're a bit subdued as well because of how poorly they've made a start to their season as well. I think it's kind of across the board, isn't it, really? Myself, I agree. The atmospheres aren't the best, but it's nice to get some familiar faces around you again. Get some 3 o'clock. Them 3 o'clock starts on a Saturday mean a lot, don't they? I mean, they do. They have a lot to it. I mean, it's better than obviously your Friday night's usually quite, vociferous or whatever, but Sunday afternoon, you fucking atmosphere's on its ass, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, you've been out the night before, you've got work the next day, for a lot of people at least. There's a lot of distractions on a Sunday, and Saturday afternoons are made for footy, aren't they?
Exactly. Fergal Kelly is in the comments and saying, morning lads, just back from walking the dog. Positive, at least we didn't lose in a clean sheet. That's about it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's talk about the game then. It's a good clean sheet. We weren't really bothered that much in goal, were they? They didn't really do anything about from Bannon spraying a few balls here, there, and everywhere. But what did you think to the match itself?
Yeah, I don't know if we can regard it as a good clean sheet because they didn't really carry any threat, did they? It's great that we got one, but they didn't really carry much threat. I think there were a couple of times that were like, oh, when they've had an effort. But if you consider the level of opportunity they had compared to ours, it pales in comparison. But from about, well before the game, but on the day, from about midpoint of the first half, I did say to the people I was at the game with, this has got a 94th Wednesday winner written all over it.
Mate, we should have had one of them bloody paper cups on a string, me and you, because I said exactly the same thing. I said this has got an absolute stinker of like a 94th minute penalty or something
in off somebody's ass or something like that.
Yeah, I said that in my area. I said this is good. They're gonna fucking win this. Watch this. They're gonna frigging win. Last minute, or a lump it forward and a scrappy little goal mouth. Oh, God.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I think we kept him at bay quite well. We pressed it's Sunday morning, I can't speak. We pressed quite high, and I thought we retained the ball pretty effectively, but maybe too effectively, because that final third, there was no cutting edge, were there? I mean, you could see... Even when Wednesday broke, they left a bank of 6 players behind. They didn't break like we broke.
Went for a point, didn't they?
Of course they did. I was speaking to someone on a social platform. You might be surprised to learn it was Twitter last night, saying,
it was X. Was it X?
Oh,
or was
sorry.
It Twitter?
Oh, sorry. Of course, it's fucking X now, isn't it? Fuck off. It'll always be Twitter to me.
It will.
I put a thing out saying that they just basically set out to not lose. And the guy, I had a few people, whoa, they're going to try and win, aren't they? They're obviously not going to. I'm like, well, no, yes, but they basically went there to defend. I mean, they did everything but drywall the frigging goal mouth is what they did. I mean, they threw the chuffing kitchen sink at the defence, didn't they? They were that tightly packed. It was just ridiculous. As soon as they got a ball, you could see their only outlet is Barry Bannon. Their only outlet was to him, and for him to just launch it as high up the field as possible. That is literally it. That is all they had. And it's sickening, really, because you'd expect better, especially from a newly promoted side. I mean, you look at Ipswich and they're absolutely flying, and then you look at Wednesday and you just think, "Oh, what the fucking hell is this? This is tragic. Like, it's really, really poor football." And then we just struggle to break them down. How did you think about our attacking prowess? Because Friday night we were going to win the league, we were going to smash it, we were all about the promotion train, HMS pissed the league. But then obviously Saturday afternoon, there's been a bit of a U-turn in opinion. What did you think to how we were going forward?
So just to reflect on the Wednesday bit, just before we move off that, I was looking it up trying to remember who said the quote, and I can't find it. But somebody, I think, connected to our club once said the only thing given to you in football is a draw. And that's exactly the way that Wednesday looked at that game. You know, if they'd have poached a win, they'd have been ecstatic with that. But you only had to hear their fans at full time. We've got a point. We've got a point. They were celebrating that. But so if we come on to the question, I think from an attacking potency perspective, I think there's a lot of fair questions being asked about Pirot in the 10 instead of Pirot up front. I do think they are quite fair questions given the numbers of goals that he scored, but as Farker himself stated, 10 is his natural position. So you could be forgiven looking at the number of goals he scored, which I think at Swansea were at about 41 in 83, something like that, which is pretty much 1 in 2, that he were playing up front because he were getting all those goals. But he wasn't. He was arriving late in the box, as Farker said, and he was scoring from that sort of position, that deeper position. However, the other side to that is because we don't have a natural 9 for him to play off. I do think that he would have been better off in the 9, even if 10 is his better position. I had a bit of a conversation about the Rat before he left for Bournemouth about whether you play him on the left wing or play him in at the 10. And I was saying I'd quite like to see him at the 10. We've got left wingers. He was going, no, left wing's his best position. And I'm saying, but we don't have a 10. And he can do that job. And we've got a left winger. So, we were already talking about the fact that we had a hole in that attack in where the 10 is. Now, if we see Perrault longer term being that 10, that's great. But we've already seen that Ruter's not a 9. So I would have preferred to have seen Perrault further forward. I think one of the weirdest things I've seen overnight and this morning is people having a go at Shaq. I thought Shaq and Willie really well down that left-hand side.
Yeah. I know, I think Skip has mentioned, or someone's mentioned in the comments just above, here we go. Skip said the same. Yeah, I think that was my status that people were kind of, jumping on, or thread, or whatever the fucking called, on X. Post, thank you. Yeah, I said the same. I thought the link-up play between Shax and Nonto was very, very good. Hell of a lot better than the right-hand side with Mr. Ayling. We'll probably get onto his replacement in a little bit. But yeah, I thought Shax and Nonto linked up very well. I was quite impressed with how they went forward.
Yeah, agreed. And so did you get a chance to listen to Farker's quick comments pitch side after the game?
I didn't, because I literally... You can't really say you babysit your own kids, but I was babysitting my own kids last night, so I literally had
you
to. You
actually had responsibility for your own offspring. Wow,
sole responsibility for my children.
Scary.
Yeah, it was scary. I didn't know what to do. Well, can you leave me a list? What do I do with this? I.e. the child. Yeah, so I had to shoot off straight away. So I've not seen any post-match stuff. I've not seen any other podcasts. I was watching films.
There are other podcasts? What?
There are other podcasts. Other podcasts are available. I made her watch The Mighty Ducks and The Sandlot last night. Two good films, I reckon. She really does like The Sandlot. Anyway.
Sandlot, I don't remember. Mighty Ducks.
Do you not remember The Sandlot? You're joking. It's a cracking film.
I don't think I've ever seen it. Maybe we'll give it a go.
No, you need to. It's brilliant.
Okay. We'll try and fix that. Back to football.
Back to football.
Anyway, Farker's comments.
No, you crack on.
Right. Yeah, no, the real quick element of it was just a 3-4 minute video this morning that I watched on Twitter that had been shared. And basically, his point was we've dominated the game, which I think is fair. Regardless of the opposition and regardless of their offering in the game, it's another game that we've dominated. And he called out, actually, that we had various one-on-ones. He said Ruter in the first half, Ruter in the second half, Perrault and Somerville, Ayling's free header, and he called all of them out. And the one that he didn't mention was the Willie Nonto penalty.
Which is an absolute stonewaller.
Oh, 100%. And I think if you look on balance, what we are lacking is a cutting edge. And I think you are right to say that when you've got a team that's sat so deep like that, that what you need actually in your attacking sense is an attacking formation with people in it that know what the others are doing. And I think if you look at the amount of game time Ruter's had, and you look at the amount of time Perrault spent with us, it's impossible for us to think that they're just going to gel and know what each other are doing at this point in time. I think I saw you make the point. It's a long, long season. We're 5 games into it. There's 41 left. 7 points is not an insurmountable thing. So I'm not losing my shit at this point in time. No. And you can see what is being attempted. But I think personally that we've done more than enough to win that game. And what we need is to be a little bit more clinical. I made the point that I thought Birmingham might be the worst side that we'll see this season. And, that's been beaten quite admirably by Sheffield Wednesday yesterday. They were absolutely woeful.
They were woeful. The referees were some of the decisions that they were throwing around as well were crap. But let's not detract that away from the performance. You know, like you said, we are going to come up against teams that are going to have that low block, I think is the modern way to say it. You know, that deep defence.
Shit.
Yeah, basically. We used to see it with Bielsa's Leeds as well. You know, we used to struggle to be able to actually break them down. Whether we put that down in individual quality. Again, you've made a good point about Rutter. A lot of people calling for his head last night. Again, 1 minute he's fantastic, the next minute he's absolute dog shit. Can't believe it. 35 million. I hear people screaming from the crowds. It's like, yeah, but the lad's trying to, on his own, break through 3 or 4, 5 defenders, and there were some frigging big lumps as well at the back. That big number 6 of theirs, Christ alive, it was like John Kofi, wasn't he? He was massive. He won a right unit.
Yeah, but you know what?
Next to Nonto, it was like me and Jay.
Yeah, but the point I was just about to make is there were a couple of times when Willie were on the closest side of the pitch to me that he put a tackle in on one of their big lumps at the back, and they dived and got a decision, and I'm screaming, look at the fucking size of you. I mean, that properly annoys me when you see people like that, not using the strength and just going down like that.
One specifically near their bench, when their number 6 went through Nonto, and because he went through him so hard, the referee gave him the decision because he'd ended up on the floor. and I was like, obviously the stand went absolutely crazy, but I was like, what the fuck? What are these people seeing? You've got a linesman right in front of the frigging stand there with his little flag. They're freaking. Well, I was like, oh my god! I was just without losing my shit so early on a Sunday morning. I'm trying to keep some sort of self control. But hellfire! Some of the decisions. I mean, it's going to be a weekly, isn't it? Really. I mean, we slandered VAR, for what it is, but really.
And it's fucked up again. I've seen this morning while I've just been having a bit of a browse. Man City, I think, might have been their winner against Fulham. I think they won 2-1.
Really? We're an offside.
Yeah, their lad stood way offside, has to jump out of the way of the ball, and VAR gives the goal.
Oh, really?
So it's no better. But I think it is a point. Terrible officiating is something that we have to just get used to at this level.
Yeah.
We thought the Premier League was bad. We thought VAR was bad, but the people that are operating at this level are at this level for a reason, and that's because they're not even as good as the shite we had in the Premier League.
But you look at that though, and you think, well, there's leagues below us, so how poor must they be? Are they running around with fucking notepads? Is that offside? No.
Gail's son is a Bradford fan. And I know that maybe I shouldn't be mentioning that, but Gailson's a Bradford fan, and he laughs at us when we complain about the officiating that we get because theirs is appalling. It really is.
How old is he?
He's 16.
Oh, so he knows as well, and he should know.
Yeah, and he was at Mansfield away yesterday, so he enjoyed his day. But anyway, if we got on the refereeing situation, I think the fact that in totality, we had 6 minutes added on when their keeper alone wasted more than that. And we're told that they're totting up all of the various different time-wasting bits and that's going to be added on at the end of the game.
Yeah,
well,
4 minutes.
2 minutes and 4 minutes. That's just a load of shit. And that is how much time we'd have had added on last season. That would have been, as it was. So, always round. The Willie stuff, what really annoyed me in midfield and what have you, Archer got absolutely cleaned out, and that were right in front of dugouts as well. And I think he did get booked, but there'd been 4 or 5 pretty horrible challenges by them. Agricultural, I think they'd probably refer to it as.
Yes.
Where they clearly had fear that our danger men were going to beat them, and I can see why, because they're much, much better. But the refs have got to get to grips with that. They have to get to grips with that, and he absolutely didn't. He was just so passive that a referee's first job is to look after the safety of the players, and I didn't think he did that.
There were a few yellow cards that should have been issued to their team. Shirt pulling, the general hugging, pulling players to the floor. You expect a few of it, but when like you say, when our attacking front rows are breaking and they've got people literally bear hugging them, it's like, come on, man. They didn't even get them a caution. They weren't even looked at. There were one. I think it was In fact, it was Rutter, and then number 6 again. I think it was number 6. I was an equally a bigger chap, number 15. One of their guys. It basically grabbing hold of him. Rutter managed to break through and went to the I think it was the east stand side, and I think they had a bit of a tussle, and their defender ended up worse. I think he ended up on the floor. But again, it's so frustrating to see. Yes, you want to see that progressive, part of the play, and you want to be able to see. You don't want people being flicked and falling over, and you don't want the game stopping for that. But when you're literally physically being manhandled to the floor, or being pulled behind, or purposefully tripped, or whatever, and for them to just go, "Oh no, play on," you've got to give them a caution. Otherwise, it's just going to happen all through the freaking game. And then and it did happen through the game, and it was, I don't want to see players getting yellow carded, but without actually getting a grip of it, you're just gonna lose the chuffing game, aren't you? From a referee's point.
Yeah. Now a referee should be directly involved in the managing of the game throughout the game to make sure that that's not happening. And if he's involved in managing the game and managing the players and communicating with them and saying that's not acceptable, and having grips right from the outset, maybe they don't need to show the yellow cards. But if you don't have a referee that's in a position where he's strong enough to do that, he's got to resort to the yellow cards. I don't want to see him booked for that either, but you sort that out early on and you don't have to.
You nip it in the bud, don't you? You just nip it straight in the bud. And then the players know what sort of level you're at, and then you can go from there.
Yeah.
But to let bits go and then let bits carry on, and it's just like it's just too inconsistent. You need to have some sort of consistency for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this international break that's coming up now, I think it's a prime opportunity for us to look at the squad for the lads to gel together. I mean, you look at the signings that we've came. Obviously, they made a few cameos. Jed Spence, I thought, was instantly impactful. I thought he did brilliantly as soon as he came on. I mean, his block that he did actually fall over, which I was laughing at. The block that he did with his back, he fell over right in goal mouth and blocked the shot, which I thought were hilarious. I thought, fucking hell, this guy's going to do all right. He's doing all right. Kamara, we didn't really see anything from him, did we? But, you can tell the crowd just buzzed straight away when they were coming on the field.
Yeah, the big disappointment for me is that we took as long as we did on such a warm day, which, the conditions, I think, were a bit of a leveler because it was a hot day.
Yeah.
The frustration for me in terms of the new signings with it took so long. I think, talking about Jed Spence, I think he's one of his first involvements was to track back and put a block in. Now, I'm somebody that still says that Ayling's got a lot to offer this side. I think, he was wearing the armband yesterday, and I think, on the ball and in the air, reading the game, I think he's still decent. He doesn't have the pace. We know that that he once had. But and on that point, he would not have got back. He would have not attracted that back, and it didn't come from the right back. So it's not like it would have been him that caused it. But Spence got back and made that block, and he showed some real pace to get back in there. And I don't think Gilly would have got there, and that would have been a one-on-one.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I said the same to one of the lads behind me. I says, if that had been Ayling in that position, he'd just probably looked out and just sighed heavily. It wouldn't have got back. He wouldn't have done. I mean,
he would have done his best. He would have really given it a go, but it'd have been 2 or 3 paces behind where Spence got to, and therefore he wouldn't have made the block.
Is he 20-year-old? 20-year-old?
Yeah, something like that.
You know what it's like when you play. I mean, I'm 37 now. I know you're obviously just a little bit older, but playing against these young lads now, you just think, fucking, it's just easy to kick them.
Yeah, it is.
It is generally easy to kick them. I'm not going to get yellow carded, so I'll just boot you. Ayling can't do that. Ayling can't do that. He's got to at least try and look like he's trying to get back. Whereas if you've got an equally as quick 20-year-old that has got a bit of a firework up his ass, he's going to be able to get back, and back he did. Fantastic challenge, and then he fell over and blocked another shot, which was great. I'm all for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah, we'll take it all day. Phillips Anderson's in the comments saying, it's annoying that a big portion of the fan base always want things gone straight away. I'm not sure what he's really referring to, but the point I was going to try and bring up is, I think we do, and you've already mentioned it, we do need to give this, a little bit more time to gel. You can see it's more of a long-term project. Things aren't going to be instant. But for me, there are a lot of big positives to come out of that game. The teams played well. We haven't conceded. We do look dangerous going forward, and teams are going to have to do that low block to try and keep us at bay. All that all that game needed yesterday were a shot from a long range shot that might have gone in or might have come off the keeper or a defender and Rutter straight through. You know, again, going back to Rutter, he just sniffs an opportunity. Even Pirro, if you've got Pirro in that mixer, I mean, I know you're hanging back slightly because Farke said, and you've said it already, you know, he comes late into the box. No pun intended there.
He does.
Yeah,
He's known for it.
Steady, he's known for it. And you know, when you've got that ball in the onion bag or the onion, oh Christ, I'm knocking my microphone over it. In that mixer, you've got players that are able to pounce on it. It's just panic. As soon as that ball's ping-ponging around the chuffing, the area, it's absolute panic and people make mistakes and it's just an opportunity for you to lunge on it. It didn't happen for us. People are
and let's remember doing that in Bielsa's first season meant that OG finished second top scorer for us.
I think he did, didn't
he? Yeah, I think so.
I think he did, yeah. 2 or 3, wasn't it? 2, 3 or 4, maybe?
I can't remember specifics. I just remember towards the end of the season somebody noting that we'd had so many own goals that season, but that's caused by that. You know, that fullback, that overlapping fullback, the ball cut back in, people not knowing where the markers are and panicking. And at this level, you know, in the Premier League, you don't get that because defenders just don't panic and they're all quick. So it's not like they're scared of pace in the same way, and they don't panic. You know, they're calm, and that's why they cost 70, 89 million pounds each because they are that capable footballer. I think just to touch on that point again, I think an important point that just needs to be regarded and contextualized is that when a new manager comes in, if that manager is worth his salt in any way, when a new manager comes in, he wants to get to grips with his squad. And for me, that means every single person starts at a clean slate. And if you don't do that, you know, look at Click. We all thought he was toast. We all thought he was done. His race had been run and he was never going to come back from his loan. He was going to be sold for 400,000 or 500,000 and that would be it. We'd never see him again. Pavel Chibitsky type. Yeah. However, Bielsa saw something in him, brought him back, and look what happened. He got, you know, he was in the side that got us promoted. And I think if you don't, you know, there is a balance to that. Now, for one, I think Shaq has benefited greatly from that, and we're benefiting from him because I think he's had 2 or 3 real good performances this season so far. And who could have seen that coming after his loan at Millwall last season that wasn't particularly successful? The other side to that is, and I will be fair and again add a bit more context. We've not seen much of him, and he's not had much of a chance yet. But I do worry slightly that Rutter's had his one good game of the season, and he wasted it against Accrington last season. But the performance against Ipswich was good. I just think there was a bit of a different dynamic. He's not a 9. He was playing deeper against Ipswich, I think, and I don't think it worked against Sheffield Wednesday. Maybe that's because Ipswich wanted to play football, and they did. And Sheffield Wednesday just absolutely did not want to play football against us at all. So maybe that's why he just looked, for me, a little bit lost. And a lot of the time that is because he was trying to bully his way through 2 or 3 big brick shit houses. Yeah. So that is difficult. But I do think that it's important for us to remember that we've got basically a new squad. Because even the players that are playing that were here with us before, a lot of them weren't playing for us. I've already mentioned Shaq being out on loan last season. So we've got a new squad under a new gaffer, and I think that it is important to remember that it's not going to, we're not going to get Bielsa against Stoke every single time we've got a new manager, exactly. However good that manager is. So, but I think you can see, you mentioned about the amount of possession that we had and the amount of good possession that we had, and that's what Farke wants. He wants to aim for, he knows it's unrealistic, but he wants to aim for 100% possession in every single game. He wants the ball. And you can see that. You can see that. Ball retention's all important. I think when we get to that position where you've got, look at the number of midfielders we've got. You've got those midfielders making runs. They're getting beyond the ball. You've got Pirro dropping off. It's going to come. We've got the players that are capable of making a difference. And if you think of the amount of one-on-ones and the fact that we absolutely Stonewall definitely should have had a penalty, we've done enough.
I think we did do enough. I mean, it is frustrating from a fan's point of view to watch the ball going from left to right to back to, it does arc a little bit of Jaap Stam's Reading, because that used to infuriate me, and we ended up beating them 2-0 at home, I remember, and we had like 28% possession or something. So possession's not everything, it's how you use it. But so many people have said in the comments, we've said it's a time thing, it's a project. It'll come, it will happen for us. I think, like you've said, it's basically a brand new squad. We've got so many new additions to try and fit into this jigsaw of a starting 11 now. And I just think, given more time, not every team sets off like a frigging cannonball. I mean, we did under Bielsa. We were right up to the top, top 5 all the way through the season. Maybe dropping slightly. It's not a frigging sprint, is it? This is a 46-game season, like you've already said. It's an absolute marathon. We just need to be a little bit more patient and trust in that process with Farke. I think I've already said on, in a sense of the word, how fantastic he is last week and a few times over I just love him. I love his approach to the way we're playing. I think sometimes his decisions, maybe with regards to substitutes, like we've already said, maybe a little bit. Maybe these new players need to be introduced a little bit sooner and try and impact the games at a sooner point rather than the 80th and 85th minutes. You can tell it's Sunday morning and I ain't even woke up properly. I literally walk up and said, laptop on. But yeah, I'm going to fly through some of these comments because we've got quite a few people going at it in the comments. It's Sunday. Everyone gets rumped on Sunday. Bob Young, Farke said you don't get a third chance. How many chances are you going to give Rutter? I like the lad, but is he good enough? I think we've covered that enough, haven't we, really?
I think third chance is not a third performance that's poor if they're working hard. That's if somebody tries to piss all over our club, he gave them a second chance. But no, it was Willie, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, of course.
It was Willie we're talking about third chance with. He's got a second chance, and now he needs to take it because there won't be a third. So, yeah. But I do worry slightly. I don't know if I've annoyed Phil Anderson here or if he's just got his caps lock on by accident. When I said maybe I worry slightly that he's had his one good game this season. But, it looks like there might be maybe kind of a player in there somewhere. But I am confident that if anybody's going to find it, it's going to be Farke.
I'm going to stick my neck right on the block here, and say, I wonder how Bamford will play in this team and whether Rutter will make way for Bamford when he comes back and see, bringing Bamford's hold-up play and his movement and the way that he's limited in a lot of respects, but the best part of his game is that hold-up play and bringing others into the game. Now, if he's got Pirro playing next to him, that will be interesting.
So I don't think we're never going to play. There's a call in the comments for playing 2 up top. We're never going to.
I don't mean next to him. I mean in front of him as number 10.
No,
sorry, I don't. We'll never play 2 up top, will we?
No, you just get overrun in midfield these days if you try and play 2 up top. It's not going to work. But so I said so. Emma Moses off Twitter caught up with me because we were parked in the same place yesterday after the game, and I mentioned that about Bamford, and she said, "Oh, not you as well." And I went, "Don't you think Bamford improves that game if Pirro's at 10 and you play Bamford instead of Rutter?" She went, "Oh, right, okay." If you look at the way that Farke's trying to play Pirro, he needs a 9 in front of him that's going to occupy a defence. He's going to run around a lot. But he's going to hold up the ball and lay it off. Exactly. That's Bamford.
Yeah. That is
because
Bamford.
We're not relying on Bamford's goals. Pirro's the goal threat. Bamford's there to set him up.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And like no one, as far as I'm concerned, I've not seen it on X, Twitter. I've not seen it anywhere else that has had this conversation. This, as far as I'm aware, is the first time this has been spoken about having Bamford up top and Pirro in behind him. It's always been Rutter. Now, there's that many people saying, "Oh, Rutter's fucking 35 million, can't believe it, blah, blah, shit." Give the lad some time. Like you said, there are so many teams that are going to come and try and play against us, but there are a lot of teams that are going to try and just completely shut up shop and park the bus. Now, when you've got people like Bamford that are available to be able to bully defenders back, hold the ball up and play in, that interchange of football, because he's quite good with his 1-2s and like you say, bringing other players into the game, he's going to unlock some of these defences. So the return of Bamford might not be a prickly bush. so to
No,
speak.
I don't think so. And I
think
don't
it'll
think
be-
he's up against Perot. Farker's made it really clear that 10 is where he sees Perot playing. And I think anybody saying that Ruta starts over Bamford needs to have a long, hard look at themselves.
Coleslaw said in the comments that's obviously if Bamford can stay fit, obviously. But,
100%. Yeah, he's made a
it will
biscuit.
happen.
So we need it. We need a plan B for when he's not available, because that's going to be for large stretches. That's just the situation. We can't get away from that.
Philip's not a fan of Bamford. Let's have a look at Coleslaw's. Let's get through some more of these start comments. Wednesday defended well, but we didn't seem to have the interplay we did against Ipswich. I think a lot of these we probably already covered. To be fair, they're hard to break down, but we're gonna get a lot of teams that come in and just it's a Wigan in it. They're gonna defend like mad, and then hopefully they can catch us on the counter and launch a ball straight up. I mean, some of the stuff. I mean, oh God. Barry Bannon, a little midget, fucking absolutely everywhere, and there's literally.
And I know that I've got none at all, but at least I'm not trying to hide it. Nobody's falling for that air, Barry Bannon. Get rid of it.
It's tragic, innit? Absolutely tragic. Skips in the comments. Many teams we come up against will play like that to stop us, so we need to find a way to break them down. Yep. Once we start to click, that front four is unmatched in this league. Just pray it clicks. I agree. Like I say, I think we just need to trust the process and give it time. Ben Tillotson, it's going to take time for this team to gel. It will get better as the season goes on, and we can hopefully push together for the playoffs. I'm still thinking we can still challenge for top. We can still challenge for top. I mean, you can't really write that off just because we've had a frigging, a shaky start. Burnley had a shaky start last season. Granted, they're not doing right well at the minute, but they absolutely, destroyed that league.
They watered the league. Absolutely watered the league.
Absolutely destroyed it.
Start. Yeah, because they had a new gaffer in place.
Exactly. Believe it or not, they needed the time for the team to gel. Who'd have known? Who'd have thunk it? Liam B. Farr didn't have his best game on the sidelines yesterday. Very slow in changing the game with the late bringing on substitutes. Again, like I say, I think we've covered this. Who else did he bring on yesterday? He brought Kamara on. He brought Spence on. Did he make any other substitutions?
No, I can't.
Off the top of your head? I don't think he did he?
I can't think of any if he did.
No.
Don't think he changed anything up top, did he?
No, I don't think he did. Maybe. Well, then again, you look at
options was another thing, though. We didn't have many options.
Exactly. That's what we're going to say. Like, who do you bring on from that bench that we had that's going to make an impact, a positive impact from the players that are already on the field?
Yeah.
You're going to bring Pervader on for Nonto or Pervader on for frigging Marcia, this Jaden, this new Jaden lad, this
Jaden Anthony.
But the thing looks a bit of a.
The thing about that is, we're in a situation where he needs to have a look at him and assess his fitness. Can you just throw him in? And if you throw him in, clearly he's not rated by their hierarchy, which is really strange.
No, I think he is. I think he is. When I've seen, I've looked in. Yeah. I mean, obviously people have joked and said, he's been gaffer taped and he's been bundled into the back of a transit van and brought up from Southampton.
Bundled. I mean, I love the word bundled, and it's only ever used when somebody's putting somebody in the back of a van.
Yeah.
Only time it's
ever
absolutely.
Used. You don't bundle your shopping into your car, do you? You bundle someone. But yeah, I mean, obviously once the marks from the gaffer tape are off his wrists and stuff. But yeah, a lot of people have said that we practically, kidnapped him and brought him up here. I have seen a little bit of the interview that he gave post-match, and it did look quite smiley, quite happy, and quite buzzing to be here. But a lot of people will call him a rat, and a lot of people are pissed off that Cine left. And I think we knew that he were going to go. I'm just pissed off that the fact that they left it right to the death to do it. However, I don't think Jaden Anthony is a bad replacement. In fact, I dare say he'll probably have more of an impact on this season than Sinisterra will, because he'll stay, hopefully, injury-free. Well, when you compare him to Sinisterra, I mean, I know Dan Moylan said it. Dan Moylan said it on Square Ball.
2 years.
But he properly got taken out big time, didn't he? But Sinisterra's made of glass, and he'll probably only play 5 or 6 games for them in Premier League before he's fucked. Yeah. Whereas just Jaden, he might play half a season for us. You don't know, do you? But he looks quite a good winger. But obviously, he wasn't available. But from a bench point of view, you don't
Well,
really
to
see
go back
that
to
much.
that question, we don't really know. Again, level of fitness. I think he'd been unwell, but I don't think it were ever confirmed as to what was going on. I might have had a look at Joseph in the 9 because we didn't have somebody operating as a 9. And there were. I'm not digging out the players for the level of effort. I think everybody put in a proper shift yesterday, and it was a difficult day to play football, and it was warm.
Yeah.
But you've got somebody there. Yeah, I know he's young. I know he's raw. But we had that in Joffrey when he was first coming into the team, and we all wanted to see him play. So young and raw is not necessarily a bad thing, especially against that sort of side, because young and raw tends to be unpredictable. But it would have been a bit of a Hail Mary. It wouldn't have been a change that you're making in control of things. It would have been a bit of a Hail Mary, but it felt like that's what we needed.
Yeah. Sometimes that's, like that unpredictability, like you say.
Yeah.
It catches people off guard and think, oh, Christ, what's going on here? I mean, Dan James, once he gets back, he will be an hell of an impact sub. You've got some tired legs
People
back.
are scared of him, aren't they?
Absolutely. If you've got, like I say, if you've got some tired legs in your defence and you've got Dan James running at your full pelt, that's
not what you want. It's really not what you want.
Especially when you can't catch him anyway. Probably if you had some fresh legs on him, you're going to be struggling. Stu Nix in this comment saying, big positive, Melia got his head back together and looked solid. He did make a few good saves. He wasn't really put under that much pressure though, was he? The one thing that's really annoying me about Melia is his decision making once he's in possession of the ball. He seems to be very, very slow at either distributing it or probably making the wrong decisions a lot of the time.
And then complaining at his teammates.
And then,
when we as fans can go, right, well, okay, you can pass it there or pass it there. We can see that this player's open, and then he's flailing his arms around
and
like
then
he didn't have any options.
He'll do his fake underarm pass. Fake underarm pass, and then roll it 5 yards to
exactly where we all knew it were going to. Anyway,
you could the amount of times. I mean, as soon as we're in possession, Ayling and Shackleton piss off right to the a good probably 30 yards away from him every time. And there were a couple of occasions when Melia picked the ball up and Shackleton had absolutely gone into loads of space. Why not fucking hit him with a pass straight away? Pass it to him, throw it to him, do whatever. Yeah, all of a sudden they're on the back foot again. But all we're giving them is time to, recuperate, get their ranks in order, and then we're just hitting a brick wall again. It's like, come on, we've got to use his initiative a little bit and try and attack these players when they're vulnerable at the back, like they were at them points in the game.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It is frustrating, especially when you can tell the fans immediately no.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy for us, innit, because we're higher up, but I'm not being funny. Yeah. You can see Jamie Shark's little arse firing away down the left-hand side of the pitch. Nonto not far behind him, or usually slightly, he's like, come on, man, fucking hell. Nonto had that frigging right back on toast. Absolutely on toast. And he's, we're not utilising these players enough from that moment, whether it be a dead ball or, whatever, but fuck it, whatever.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So last one. I don't know if you've started this one. Did you start that one?
Yeah, I might have done. Yeah, I'm not certain that's right. I think it was one up top with one playing off. It's a bit more difficult to tell on telly because obviously you can't concentrate on something for a few minutes and just see because you just have to follow cameras. But it very much seemed to me like we had 3 behind the 1 and then 2 holding.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just didn't know what you thought.
No, we've definitely not. We didn't play 2 up top. Definitely didn't play 2 up top because that's not the system that he wants. He wants that, like you said, that Pirro in that number 10, and then obviously Rutter or Bamford in that number 9 holding position. And I don't know where he's got that from. Seems very angry this morning, Philip. Get a coffee down here, mate.
Just one more that I'd start.
Go on.
Sorry, I think we both clicked at the same time. Do you think the club will move for any free agents? I've not seen anything. I know it's a new situation with the transfer window only just closing. I think there are a couple that we definitely could move for. One completely pie in the sky idea might be Eden Hazard, which we're never going to get, but it'd be nice. But the other side, I think there could be, and Farker might not fancy him because, well, he's a lunatic. But Morelos at Rangers has been released, and he's scored a lot of goals. And I think for somebody, if he's on a free, if he'll come to what's a better level than he's been playing at because he's been in Scottish football, but they've been they're playing Europe and whatever else. So, and they'll probably be able to pay him significantly more. But I think there might be a place for him as a backup. And he's a 9. He's a number 9, allowing Perot to be in the 10. And then you've got 2 or 3 at the moment, and you've got Rutter, you've got Nonto, you've got Jimmy. And then, obviously you've got other players coming back like Dan James. So I think for me, there are players out there that we could go and get. The question was, do you think the club will? And I don't. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I just suspect that we won't.
Yeah, maybe not. It's one of them, innit? Well, I don't think we'll ever know. I think at the end of the day, we just need to give this time. I think. I don't know whether. I mean, I know that you agree. I know that you agree that we just need to give this time and just be patient with the whole system, be patient with the team, be patient with Farke. I think the way that he's dealt with everything so far. He's got bloody credit in the bank, and he's in the good books so far with us. So I've just been flicking through a lot of these comments now. A lot of people
just want to point out Johnny Brown from Hull. He's available on a free.
JB, get him in. Get him signed up. Get him. Oh no, I know JB is fucking hell, top lad from Hull. Currently, I assume he's got a fishing line between his toes, probably cracked open a can already as JB.
No. From what I've seen, he'll be sat behind his lads fishing and just out necking a beer.
Yeah, good. It's probably get him chuffing grafting.
Why not? He's on all.
Why not? Any other business? Anything else that we haven't covered? Do you think? Oh my God! What am I seeing? What is this? Stu said Jesse Lingard as a 10.
Stu needs to take himself for a walk.
Go and have a word with yourself. It's early Sunday morning. You are forgiven. Go get yourself a bloody a bacon sandwich and a cup of tea, and go give yourself a bloody have a word with yourself. What is going on? Exactly. Blaze Roy. No Jesse Lingard. No more divas. Yeah, exactly, mate. So on a whole, then. Yesterday's game, good place to see us through the international break. What were you expecting them to be working on during the international break? Who's his next game?
It's Millwall.
Preston? Oh no, it's not Preston.
Millwall.
Is it down at the Den as well? Is it?
Yeah. So I think just in terms of what they'll be working on, I think it'll be focusing on shape and passages of play. When the ball's in this situation, this is what I want you to do. And I think we're starting to see an identity. I think, and it'll be focusing on that. I suspect, and making sure that you've got people fit. I think there's 2 or 3 expected back after internationals. So it's one of them. He needed time. And I don't think an early international break is the worst thing in the world for him to be able to get a bit more time with squad.
No, it's only going to improve him. Like I say, he's able to work with the squad a lot more, get these new signings in and into the cultural leads and get them, established within the squad and whatever. So, yeah. What do you think to Jed Spence and Luke Ayling? Because you're left with a problem, aren't you, that obviously we can't... I think he gave the captain's armband to Strike yesterday when he went off.
Yeah.
Jed Spence made a very, very good very impactful performance, straight from the off. For me, I mean, some people will agree, some people won't, but for me, Jed Spence has to start. But also, to caveat that, what do you do with Ayling? Because he's a leader. He's one of the very few leaders on the pitch. We can't give... I mean, I like Rodon, but you can't give the band to a loan signing. So what?
No, I don't think you can.
Do from a captain's point of view? Do you give it to Melia?
It's a difficult one. I don't think Melia is a leader. Strike is probably as close as we get. Ampadu's, his experience is 44, 45 international games. But again, for me, he's one of those that kind of leads by example rather than actually, leading, bossing, telling the team what they want from him and that sort of thing. So I think that is the main area of concern. Without Coops, if you drop Ayling, who's going to wear that armband and who's going to really drive the team forward? I think you're right. I think from an impact perspective, I don't, other than him blasting a a thunder bastard in from 45 yards out. I don't think his debut minutes for us could have gone any better. You know, he got back and made a challenge. He made a block that you mentioned. He looked quick going forward. Yeah, he's got a good touch on the ball. He does. I think you're right. I think it'll come down to what Farkas sees in training, but I think you're right. He's made a really strong fist for starting the next game, and that does pose a problem of, okay, then who's going to wear the armband? I don't think you can give it Shaq, but I think Shaq's plays the next game because he's played pretty well in this one. Willie certainly can't have it. Somerville isn't a leader in the same way. Archie Gray has already got the world on his shoulders as it is. He does not need any additional pressure on him, does he? Because the player, besides the targeting him right from the outset, he's getting some right treatment at the minute. So it is actually a problem. If you look at the leadership that we've lost, you know, Adams captains his national team. Paddy's won the armband before, but he's made a biscuits. Dallas would be a prime captain. He's not available. Cooper's injured.
To be fair, do you see Dallas? I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Dallas. We don't know whether it's going to be like when he comes back from injury, do we? I mean, we're all praying that he's going to be the same Dallas that we were before, but I highly doubt, you know, given...
It's unlikely. I mean,
we're not naive.
The one thing I would say, the only person that you can think would come back from that horrendous layoff and such a bad injury with so many setbacks is somebody with the mentality of a Stuart Dallas. Yeah. So he's got as good a chance as anybody coming back from what he's having to come back from. There's no guarantees, though. Absolutely none.
Yeah, there's a few people in the comments saying that they want to give it to Struijk, which, to be fair, I think if you were forced, I think that's probably the right decision, even though he's young. I don't really see him talking or motivating the team much, though. You know, you can see him quite, you know, he's quite vocal on the field, and Struijk, I'm just like, if you're a captain, you need to be vocal. You need to be that fierce leader. You need to be that, you know, that focal point on the field.
I agree, and there were a few times after ball had broken down and teams were setting up and they were pissing off to set up their flat back five and the five in front of him. You know, Ayling had his arm around a couple of people, he's pointing things out and he's having a chat with them, and you can actually see him just managing things through the game. So you know, he does a bit of that, and he gets it in ref's face. You know, there were I can't remember which one it was because there were so many of them. It might have been the one that you alluded to, that you mentioned when Willie had been flattened and then somehow they got the... Oh, no, actually, it was one afterwards. I thought we had a free kick and then all of a sudden it was throwing. It was that one. Nothing were given at all, and it was just a really, really bad tackle, and I think it was on Willie. And Ayling were in ref's face. And
what did Willie or Cine?
It wasn't Cine, mate.
Not fucking Cine, Christ. I meant Somerville.
It could have been.
I need to wash my mouth out mentioning that.
You really do.
Name,
it could have been. I thought it was Willie, but it was right over on far side in front of the dugouts, and it were a throw-in that we're giving. I'm like, how the fuck have you done that? You see, if he gives a free kick the other way, you think, right, okay, there must have been something I've not seen that happened before that one that he's already made the decision on. But to just give a throw-in means nothing happened at all, and it was properly cleaned out.
Saw Ayling kicking off with I don't know whether it was the fourth official or their coach, because they were stood literally side by side. But they, as Leeds were breaking, they were trying to break. They slowed this player down. I think they kind of grabbed hold of the ball, and Ayling kind of shoved one. And then referee stopped game. It's like, come on, they're holding onto the ball. They're stopping the flow of the game. You know, we're wanting to break. Ayling's trying to get hold of the ball, and he's having a tussle with the guy who's got hold of the ball. I don't know whether it was fourth official or whether it was there.
So somebody mentioned that in the comments earlier on, because I'd missed this, because obviously it's right over at far side, and I am quite an old fella, as you rightly mentioned earlier on. Didn't in the thing, guys, out what they were. Apparently, it was the fourth official holding the ball.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought it was their coach. I know the fourth official were there, and they were all having how was your father? Christ, having a bit of how was your father on the side of the field? Having a bit of a tussle or whatever. But I just think, fucking come on, man, Jesus Christ, just get on with bloody game. Referees are just shit, aren't they? I want to just get your thoughts on this. Mark Dooley says, criminal, we didn't get a penny for Sinisteria. Worse deal than a specific Frenchman.
That French scumbag. I think, if we look at it from a 49ers perspective, you've got a player that really, really doesn't want to be here. You've got this thing hanging over us about whether they enacted the deal before the deadline that was stated in the contract or not. Bearing in mind, we're commenting on all of these things without actually having seen what's written down in the commercial agreements. But we think that there was an expiring loan offering. Bournemouth clearly thought that they triggered that before it expired. You've then got a player that doesn't want to be here, and you've got somebody that is in a position where they so don't want to be here. They're so snaky rat-like that they're going to enact a legal challenge against their employer.
Yeah, threaten legal action. Wow.
I think from a 49ers perspective, I don't think they were left much choice. Now, we're in a position now, if we get promoted, then there's a difficult decision for that board to make then about that player. And if we don't, then there's tens of millions coming in for him. So I think from the situation the current board found themselves in, I can see why they handled it in that way. I'm not happy about it. I thought Cine were going to be the best player in the league this season, so I'm not happy about him going.
Briefly,
I'm not happy
for
about
however
him
many
being
appearances it would make.
Yeah, I'm not happy about him being an absolute prick over it, and snaking us as fans and all of that bullshit, and that awful fucking Insta post that he's put out. He can get in the bin. So for me, he's done, and I don't want him back at the club, regardless of promotion or not, at the end of the season. Yeah. From the 49ers perspective, I really can see why they've taken this approach. It protects their asset and it moves somebody out that clearly was going to be an issue. And what you really can't have is a player at the club that's actually going through a legal challenge against their employer. That would have been so toxic. I can see why they've done that.
Yeah, and like I say, you've got to protect the asset, haven't you, at the end of the day? He's going to get more exposure in the Premier League. So if we actually do want to move him on, if you're searching for radio/wireless channels, you're not going to find them in the Championship because no one gives a shit about the Championship. No one watches it. Whereas the Premier League, it's a completely different ball game. So if you can advertise that asset out in the Premier League, whether it be on loan, we're not paying for him. Obviously, his wages will be covered by that club. It's basically a free advertisement. Yes, granted, it's Bournemouth, but at the end of the day, you're going to recoup more money for the guy rather than him playing a season in the Championship. So
I mean, it's unlikely anybody will get to see him anyway, isn't it? Because he's going to spend
Probably
the
not.
majority of the season on the treatment table, which means actually going back to your point before about this Anthony, however you say his name, is he's probably going to have more of an impact throughout the course of the season if he can stay fit. On balance of probability, because Cine's not going to be available for large stretches of it.
Yeah. He outright lied to the kids outside Thorpe Arch on Friday morning, saying he's not going anywhere while he was on his way to the airport. F him, the absolute snake, says Mr. Dodo. I agree,
F
mate.
him.
But
It's not a C-bomb. You can say fuck it, so it's okay.
Well, it's early. It's Sunday. Kids might be knocking around, throwing frigging not Space Raiders, but cereal bars at each other.
If that's true, I am very sorry. This, we like to be. We all have families, so I'm very sorry.
Try and keep the language down on a Sunday morning. And that's me saying that. I mean, I'm worse mum probably, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, he's not going to say, "Oh no, sorry, I'm off. See you later." I don't know what car he was driving. It would look like a chuffing Zafira or something. I don't know. It wasn't not special or sexy, wasn't it? You'd expect
it's because it was a taxi taking him to airport so he could go to Bournemouth while saying that he's not leaving.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere, honestly. No, he's got bloody airport chuffing airlines or something like that.
Tickets sticking out of his bag next to him.
At least he didn't pay for his own ticket like that shithouse Christensen, the prick.
But I mean, the club's done a bit of that, haven't they? The lad that they brought over flew him over, and then he added a bit more to the conversation. Like, just see yourself home, mate.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That fair play to the club for doing that. Like, I mean, it's petty, innit? Well,
but it's
not.
Classic
It's not. But it's absolutely. It's like, oh, you want to fuck us around there? Well, you will find out, my friend. There's the door. Piss off. If you want to be like that,
you just said that F word.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Look, don't listen to me. I'm full of shit.
It's the fuck around and find out table, isn't it?
Yeah. F around and find out.
F around and find out.
So yeah, I mean, have you got anything else? I mean, we've struggling really a little bit.
I think we're done, mate. I think we're done.
I think that's it.
It were an okay day. It were a great day it were a great football day let down by the football. I think we'll top and tail it with that. Start and finish with that.
It was a good social day for absolutely everyone in the beer gardens and probably afterwards. But there you go. I hadn't had a chance to show off my new T-shirt. Look, my new Berardi Coke T-shirt. Hold on, try to show it for the camera. It's the only one available and it's mine. No one else is having it. A lot of people have said, "Oh, are you going to start doing merch?" We're not big enough for that. we're only a small pod, really. We don't have that kind of reach. So maybe if we get a few more 1,000 subscribers, we might start doing something like that. But so thanks for joining me, mate. It's been a bloody early pod. I don't think we've ever had a podcast as early as this before. I think we've sent the mark for that one. Thank you to everyone in the comments. It's been an entertaining Sunday. I don't feel any better for having come on this morning. I think I'm still pretty much like, yeah, it's a process. Got to trust the process. Let's give it time or whatever. Looking forward to the Millwall game, but I'm kind of looking forward to having a little bit of a break, a little bit of a reset, and see what these guys. Here's the merch we're not selling to you, scumbags. Yes, absolutely, Mr. Dodo. You can't have it. It's mine. We'll see. If there's an interest in it, we might do something. But apart from that. Thank you everyone for interacting with us in the comments. Thanks for getting up so early and joining us this morning. It's been a bit of a cruise, but it is what it is. We're here. I don't think have we got another podcast this week? Are we having a week off? Get something out there? Probably,
we normally do a main. To be fair, we've touched on Cine and a lot of things not related to the actual game. So we've maybe strayed into the territory of a main, but we normally do a main. So there'll be one Tuesday and one the following Tuesday, then we'll be back for a B&C after Millwall.
Fuck 'em all. As he says,
no L's in London,
just before it.
Millwall.
No, they're in, is there? We're in London. At least you'll be able to use your Warnock video.
We're in London, aren't we? That's the difference.
Thanks everyone else for joining us. We will see you on Tuesday. Take care.
See you later.